Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. Welcome back to the Differently Mom podcast. I am super grateful that you guys are tuning in and choosing to listen to this podcast. It honestly means a lot to me. And recently I feel like slowly but surely the podcast is very slowly growing and extending. It's very slow, but it's definitely quite nice to see and quite gratifying. And I've been receiving a few comments here and there of people resonating with my content. And honestly, it makes me really happy and proud, because with this, I'm hoping to help you on your own journeys and hopefully impact you in a positive way. And receiving comments that tell me that I've done just that it's really beautiful, and I feel really grateful for it. So I wanted to start off this podcast with a message of gratitude. Now, before we actually get into the actual topic of today's video, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping with you guys. The first thing is letting you guys know that my advent calendar is out. So I'm doing an advent calendar, which is honestly a lot of work to do, and sending you a message, impactful message, beautiful message, insightful message every single day till Christmas Day on Substack. So it's a newsletter. And so the purpose of this is to hopefully remind you of your own humanness, remind you that as humans, we're a lot more similar than we often think we are. A lot of the times we see on social media that, we often compare ourselves to other people and feel very different and very like, oh, but that's just them. I'm different. I can't get that. I'm not that cool. Or I go through feelings and they seem like they don't go through those at all. And with this, Substack and this advent calendar, I'm hopefully trying to remind us all that we're all very human and we're all a lot more similar than we often think we are. Or at least we're a lot more similar than what we're able to perceive through social media a lot of the times. So that's the purpose of the advent calendar. And the other thing as well with this advent calendar is to hopefully allow you and trigger you into thinking about your life in a slightly different way that will hopefully allow you to continue to grow and heal on your own journeys. And I can already tell you that even though I'm the one writing this advent calendar, I already feel like there's certain things that I'm looking at life slightly differently because of the way that the words came out on the paper. And I was like, oh, actually, I do agree with that, even though I hadn't noticed it fully. So if it's already been impacting me and I'm the one writing it, I really think that there's a lot of value that you guys can gain from that advent calendar. It is in writing format, so it's on Substack. The link is in the description. You can decide to subscribe and then get an advent calendar email every single day. Or if you're not really into reading, that's not something you're very used to, although I would suggest that maybe you push your comfort zone a little bit, try something out and try something new. If that's not something you want to do, that's completely fine. I have every single day a little bit of an extract that I read on my Instagram and that I share as a reel. So if you want to, you can get involved with the advent calendar in that way instead. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is I was saying on the advent calendar that on the 25th of December, I'll be announcing something that I'm launching. This is still something that I do want to do, but I can sense that I feel quite tired already doing the advent calendar every single day. And so I don't know for sure if this is going to happen on the 25th of December yet, just because I'm not fully sure that I will have the right amount of energy to put behind this launch. It's definitely still something I want to do, but I'm just saying that it will get done either in December, like 25th of December, or sometime beginning of 2024. But there is something to look forward to. It would not be something that I'm not going to do at all. It just might delay the actual birth of this new thing that I want to create, just because I want it to be aligned with me and aligned with my energy levels. And these days, the energy levels are slightly fleeting, I think, because I'm spending a lot of my energy on the advent calendar. So these are the first two things. And the last thing that I want to share with you is please share this podcast. If there's anything that you think would resonate or help your partner, your kid, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your friends, please share it with them. If you don't want to share the actual link, that's fine, but at least talk about it with them. The more, the merrier. The ripple effect is real. So if I'm able to impact you, then through what you've learned from me, you can also impact other people within your own community. And the more we can touch people and the more people can slowly but surely heal and grow and, come back home to themselves, the better the world as a whole elevates and becomes. And that's also one of the goals and the purposes of this podcast as well. So now that all of this has been said, let's dive into actually today's topic, which is talking about the actual, real, deep, profound purpose of adulthood and adulting. Because I honestly sometimes feel like the purpose that we think of when we think about adulting is very different to the actual, I think, real raw and deep purpose of adulting. And I came up with this idea actually in the shower. Recently, I have a lot of ideas come to me, and I've found few ways to do it. Because as a little tip, guys, if you have an idea come in your head, your brain is good at generating ideas. It's not good at storing them. So please make sure to write them down if you don't want to lose them. So a lot of the times I either write it in one of my journals or on my phone. And recently, because they've also happened in the shower, I brought a whiteboard marker in my shower, and when I have ideas, I just write it on the door of my shower. Anyway, so that's a little bit of me digressing and just sharing a random thing as to where this idea of this podcast came from. But coming back to the actual topic, which is the actual real deep purpose of adulting. And I think to get to what the actual, I don't know if it's the actual real or deep, profound, true meaning of adulting and the purpose of it. I don't know if that's the truth, but all I can say is that maybe a slight shift of perspective as to what adulting means can help us again, on this journey of healing and growing, and can help us become better people and understand life a little bit better. Okay, so a lot of the times I feel like adulting, if you think about what adulting means to you, I feel like a lot of us will have this sort of perspective and understanding that adulting is here to become an adult. And what is an adult? An adult is somebody that has their life together, is somebody that is able to sustain themselves and that has responsibilities and is able to take care of other people. So you think of adulting as a process where you're slowly but surely becoming successful in your career, settling down in a house or a home, settling down in a relationship, having an animal, a cat, a dog, whatever you want, and then having kids, and then raising those kids to hopefully help them and give them the tools so they can become adults on their own, and then as themselves go to uni, study, have a good job, settle down in a house, settle down with a partner, have a pet, and have kids, and then the cycle continues and continues. And I feel like a lot of the times that's what we view adulting as. At least when I was 16, 15 or whatever, and I was thinking, oh my God, I want to be an adult, I was looking for that ability to have things under control, have things that are mine, have a house, have a partner, settle down somewhere and feel like I'm the master and the controller of my own life. And I feel like when you think about that as a kid and you see an adult, you feel like they have everything under control, and you feel like, when I'm going to be an adult, I'm going to have things under control because this is what adulting means, to find the answers. I feel like a lot of the times we go online, we go on social media, and you see people being like, I'm in my 20s, I'm adulting, and I'm trying to figure out who it is that I am, and I'm trying to settle down and find that peace. And a lot of the times you associate finding that peace with, there's a lot of wind outside, I'm so sorry. You kind of associate finding that peace with settling down and, becoming successful and having the money and having the partner and having the kids and having the dog, and having the home, the house. But I'm actually here to maybe switch around a little bit this mindset and think about adulting in a bit of a different way, diving maybe a bit deeper, because I do agree with the fact that an aspect of adulthood is to get to that sort of like settled, being able to sustain your own self and have responsibilities and take care of kids and take care of other people. I do agree with that, but I feel like maybe that's not the main purpose. Maybe these are just the things that are standing on top of the table, but the table is something else, if that makes sense. So the structure, the foundation of adulthood, I don't think that the foundation of adulthood is actually the ability to take care of other people and to have a house and a home and to sustain yourself and have money. I don't really think that that's the table. I think that the foundation, the table of, adulthood upon which lie the ability to buy a house and the money and the kids and whatever, is actually allowing yourself to become a parent. And when I say to become a parent, I don't mean become a parent to a kid, to a dog, to a cat, whatever it is. I actually mean to become your own parent. So let me say that again. I think that the purpose of adulting and the foundation of adulting is actually to allow yourself to become your own parent and to reparent yourself in the ways that you've always needed. And the reason why I say that is because none of us go through childhood unfazed. None of us come out of childhood on the other side having no traumas, having nothing that, we need to work through and decipher and, we all come out of childhood with things that, we now need to work through and alchemize to become free again. And the way that I like to look at it is we're born into this world as an innocent child that has, kind of like a pure, I'm so sorry for the noise, kind of like a pure essence that kind of arrived on the earth unscathed. And the more and more you go through childhood, the more you go through adolescence, the more you get away from this unscathed, untouched, pure essence of a child. And the more you become closer to an adult that actually has built armors, has put things on top of themselves to protect themselves, because life is not easy. Things happen. Feelings are hurt. Children feel like they are not heard. They're not cared for. They're not loved in the way they want to. They don't have the freedom they want to. And some people are like blatantly abused, there's a whole spectrum of what can happen. But over time, you kind of take on a few different armors and things that you put on top of this pure essence of yourself of a kid to protect yourself and to allow yourself to continue living in a way that is not too painful. But the thing is, it means that we then all arrive at 18 years old, starting our adulting journey with all of these masks, with all of these armors on top of us. And a lot of us don't realize this. And it sometimes takes decades for people to realize that they actually are very, very far from who they are at their core. That, as I was telling, that when you're born as a pure essence, who they are at their core is so, so, so deep down, protected by layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of armor that you put on top of yourself to protect yourself. Because you're like, well, all of these things have happened to me, and every single time something has happened to me, I put on a new layer to protect myself, to continue living, because if I don't do that, then I feel too vulnerable. And I completely get that. We've all done this, and we all continue to do this because that's a way that we are able to protect ourselves. But my thing and my sort of point with this video and this podcast is to remind us that maybe the purpose of adulting and the foundation of adulting is to actually look at ourselves in the mirror and understand who we are actually seeing on the other side. Are we seeing that pure essence of ourselves, or do we not even have access to it because we've put on so many layers to protect us? And the problem when you put so many layers is that you think that this is you, and they weigh you down, they slow you down on your journey. And I honestly believe, and I honestly think that it's a big point and a big purpose of adulting, and especially in the 20s, is to slowly but surely dismantle all of this armor, dismantle and dissolve all of these barriers that are put up around us, around our pure essence. And the moment we slowly dissolve all of this, we realize, oh, I'm back home, and I feel so good and authentic and raw, and I feel so much more like myself. And when you feel a lot more like yourself, and you feel like you have an ability to tap a lot more into that pure essence, that pure energy of who you are at your core, you're able to take such better decisions for yourself and to do the things that actually bring you joy. A kid will not do anything that doesn't bring them joy. If you actually look at a kid that's like between 0 and 3, a lot of them will do only the things that bring them joy. They will not eat the food that they don't want to eat. They're forced by their parents to eat the vegetables if they don't like the vegetables. But they will not, out of their own choice, do something they don't want to do. When they're tired, they sleep. When they have energy, they're running around. They're like tumbling around. They're putting their hands in mud. They're like running. Like, you know what I mean? Like a kid will not do something that they don't want to do. But the more we grow up, the more we get away from this kid that we used to be, we learn how to be an adult. We learn how to exist in society, and we learn that certain things are not okay. Certain things we need to do things that we don't want to do. And sometimes you do have to do that, but to a certain degree. And you'll realize that the more you get closer to that essence, back home, back to that essence of who you are and your core that has not gone anywhere. Yes, you're not a kid anymore, but that essence, that pure energy that's there, that, your inner child still wants all of those things, still wants joy, and still wants to do things that you actually enjoy. And so the closer and closer you get back to your inner child and having an actual almost relationship with them, because you can tap into the energy, because you've dissolved a lot of the armors and you can access that, the more you're going to realize that your tolerance for doing things that you don't enjoy diminishes. I think that's why for me, I say that the foundation of adulting is actually reparenting yourself, dissolving those barriers, because the moment you are able to get back into the essence of who you are at your core, this sort of pure, innocent energy that you are as a kid, when you're able to tap into that, then you're able to operate from a place of what do you want to do. And then everything else in your life, the kids, the job, the partner, the house, will be so much more aligned with what it is that you want. Because if you don't have that foundation, if you don't have the foundation of you have access to your authentic self, your inner child, and what that inner child wants, then you are going to make decisions based on what it is that you think that you should want. Oh, I think that I should get married with this guy because this guy seems like he's successful and he's conventionally attractive. And you're like, oh, surely I'm going to be happy. And then you realize years later, I'm not fulfilled because they're not providing what it is that I actually want. They're not making me laugh every day. Yes, they're providing money and all of these things, but they're not actually making my inner self happy. I don't feel like a child when I'm around them. I just feel like I have to be an adult, things like that. Or, you realize, oh, like I've decided that I was going to live in this massive condo and it's amazing and it's beautiful and it shows that I have money to the world. But actually, I don't feel at peace here because what I would like is living in a cottage. But you're not going to know these things if you're not able to tap into that energy, that like pure essence of your being. And all of us have a different thing that we want within ourselves. And so that's why I think that the foundation of adulting, the primary purpose of adulting is to dismantle our barriers, dismantle our armor, and to get back in touch with who we are at our core, who we were as a child. Get back to that and slowly but surely come back home, because when we do that, as I said, then everything that lays on top of the foundation, the house, the relationship, the family, the dogs, all of this will slowly come together in a beautiful way that is actually aligned with what it is that you want. And I know for a fact that people are going to be listening to this and be like, okay, it's all fun and games, ha ha ha, you're saying this, but how? How do you do this, bestie? And honestly, it's difficult. I don't know if I have the full answer because I'm still on this journey myself. It's not an easy journey, but I think what I would say is the main thing that I think allows you to get this relationship with yourself a lot of the times is to spend time with yourself, intentional time just with you, to get to know you. Because you know how you often say that, to build a relationship, a friendship, you need to spend time with them and get to know them and ask them questions and revisit topics and understand if you're on the same page. And all of these are important, but have you ever done that with yourself? How well do you actually know yourself? Do you know your values? Do you know what it is that actually lights you up? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What are the things that you enjoy doing? What are the things that you enjoy listening like spending time with yourself, I think, is probably one of the best ways and the best places to start. And there's a lot of ways to do this. You can spend time with yourself, writing, journaling, meditating, dancing, just speaking to yourself in the shower, speaking to yourself in front of a mirror. You can do hypnosis work as well, which allows you to go inside and really slowly but surely build a relationship with your inner child and who it is that you are at your core. So I think that's the main way. Spending time with yourself, I think, is a really, 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 really crucial thing. But I think the other thing that is really important to mention that I think a lot of the times we forget is that a lot of the times we're thrusted into, this sort of journey of healing and growing through something that's pushed us to do that. It's very rare that somebody's going to wake up on the 1st of January of whatever year and be like, you know what, my goal this year is to really find myself. Because you can put that on paper, but if you don't have the actual fuel and your whole being that's aligned in wanting to do that, it's very, very, very difficult to actually sustain that. And a lot of the times people that, go on these journeys because they've been pushed, they've been forced out of the driver's seats of their life and forced into, trusting in life and pushed into a season of pain that brings up a lot of old things from their past that they now have to slowly but surely sift through and look at. And then that's also when when you're cracked open for whatever reason, a breakup, a grief, your dog died, whatever reason. It can literally be anything for anyone. You lost your job, you moved away and now you feel lonely, whatever it is. When you're cracked open for something triggered that. Let's say the breakup cracked you open. But because you're cracked open, everything else that hasn't been dealt with also comes up to the surface. So now you have, yes, the breakup to deal with, but all the other things, all of the other armors that you've put on top of yourself to protect yourself that are coming up being like, hey, are you going to deal with this armor that you put up because of this thing that happened in your life? Because this is not actually you, and you know that you can address this and just like make it, like dissolve it, and then you're going to feel lighter in your life. And so I think that's another thing that's really important to mention, and this is that a lot of the times you don't choose when you're thrusted on this journey. So if you're somebody watching this and you're like, oh, like I feel like I would like to have a lot more peace and a lot more freedom and all of that, but I don't feel like, you know, nothing has pushed me yet. First of all, nothing has pushed you yet. Something might be coming. But if nothing is coming, which honestly, you don't want horrible things to happen to you, start off with just spending time with yourself and getting to know yourself on a deeper level and going out with yourself on dates, like solo dates, things like that, to get to know yourself a lot deeper. And whenever things come up that make you uncomfortable, whenever triggers happen, somebody in your family, in your circle of friends triggers you, don't just blame it on them and say, oh, you've done this and you've triggered me. Also, go back home, go back to your room and look inwards. Why was I triggered by this? What did they say that actually triggered me? And was I responding from a place of I'm actually hurt, or somebody else, another version of me, a past version of me, is actually responding because I haven't dealt with a past hurt that I've had. So now I have this trigger. And even if I'm not actually that hurt, a past version of myself is responding because that version is still hurt. And sometimes that gives you little clues here and there that there's things to work on. And then you can start to build patterns, you know, connect the dots and realize, okay, clearly I have an anxious attachment style, and so that's something I want to work on. Or clearly I feel like people don't hear me and I don't feel heard, so that's something you can work on. Or clearly I don't feel like people actually love me for who I am, and that's again something you can work on. So the best place to start, I think, the journey is to start listening to yourself and spending time with yourself, and then slowly but surely you're going to realize that it's actually going to guide you where it is that you need to go. My journey is going to be 1,000 times different from your journey, but our starting points are the same. Spending time with ourselves, hearing what our bodies have to tell us, hearing what comes through, and then from that, listening to those voices, and then taking the path slowly but surely, moving along our paths. And our paths will be different, but the start is the same. So the only thing that I can actually tell you in this podcast as to how to do it is where to start. Spend time with yourself. And then the other things that I can tell you is to share with you what I've done to sometimes get through certain things that have come up, and certain things that I've used to alchemize those feelings and to transform certain pains into things that are not as painful, or at least, you know, not as raw of feelings and emotions. And what I've done a lot is hypnosis. So I've done self-hypnosis, but I would recommend doing at least 1 or 2 sessions with a professional first, so you understand how it works. And I've done that in the past. That's really good to do some inner child work. It's a very good technique and effective technique that you can like look up online and find hypnotherapists that you trust. The other thing would be meditating. I think that's also really, really important. It's a very good way of looking inwards. You can do guided meditations, but I would suggest to do guided meditations, but also silent ones, to really listen to your own body and to your own mind often, so you can start to see what it tells you. The other thing that I've also used quite a bit was EFT tapping, or is EFT tapping. If you want a little fun fact, I've actually was EFT tapping just before this podcast episode because I was not feeling great, and I was like, well, I need to shift this energy because I want to record this podcast right now. And I did EFT tapping, and it was very, 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 very efficient. I usually use Tap with Brad, and there's like, I think he has over 1,000 videos on anything like feeling worthy, forgiving yourself, loving yourself, attracting love, money, depression, anxiety. There's a lot of things on there. So really, really good. EFT tapping, for anybody that doesn't know, it's a way of tapping on different points of your body, of like your face and your upper chest mostly, which allows you to, with somebody telling you like sort of like a script, it allows you to kind of calm down your nervous system and shift the energy out of your body in a really, really efficient way. It's actually a very, very beautiful technique. I use it every single time as well. Like, I feel like my heart feels heavy and constricted, and like unconstricts, I don't think that's a word, but unconstricts my heart like super, super fast and dissolves all of the pain that resides in there. And then the other thing that I often use as well is dancing. I've noticed this on my own journey, and I don't know how much that's going to work for your journey, but I've noticed that sometimes when everything else has failed and I have like a very strong, pressure in my body, a lot of the times dancing to a song that I feel very connected to helps to move that sort of pressure out of my body. So that's also something that I would recommend. So these are just like a few techniques and modalities that you can use to slowly but surely break down and dissolve those barriers that you've created. And the last thing that I want to tell you is that, guys, this is a journey. It's not going to be all sunshines and rainbows. It's not, you're going to think that you're done and then something else is going to hit you. And don't fall for the trap of believing that once you have the house, once you have the relationship, once you have the kids, this stops. It doesn't. It won't stop. And I think that's also something that I want to remind myself, is that we're constantly evolving, and, doing the healing work is good. It's important, but it's not our purpose, if that makes sense. So obviously I said that the foundation and one of the purpose of, adulthood was to do this work. And I do think that it's true, but your purpose as a human being is not to heal. Detaching yourself from that is also important, because your purpose as a human being is to experience, it's to live, it's to enjoy life, and to come here and learn lessons and understand what it is to be a human, which is to learn lessons, to fall and to rise up again, and to fall and to rise up again, and to fall 2 times and rise up twice even higher. That's the purpose of being here. Our purpose is not necessarily to heal. Our purpose is to learn through lessons that sometimes come through pain and sometimes come through joy. So yeah, let me know what you thought about this episode. My legs are actually so hurting. I'm so sorry. Ooh, let me know what you guys thought of this episode. If you enjoyed it, what you guys think of this sort of like shift of perspective of what adulthood actually means, or like the foundation or the sort of purpose of adulting. If you've agreed with me, if you disagree with me, that's completely fine as well. If you enjoyed the video and the podcast, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, share this podcast around. If you're listening on a podcast platform as well, please leave a review of the podcast and then rate it as well. It really helps us. It really helps the podcast out a lot. And yeah, without further ado, I'm probably going to go. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you're going to choose to look through the Advent calendar. It's a really, really beautiful space that I've created. And yeah, I love you guys, and I really, really hope that I'll see you guys soon, and that you'll decide to tune in for more adventures and more videos on this channel and on this podcast. So yeah, bye guys.